Welcome to Risky Routes, a short interview series telling the stories of moments when travel forces you to grow up and adapt fast. Because risk creates perspective, and perspective creates success. We talk about the chaotic, uncomfortable, borderline bad idea journeys that push people to level up, trust themselves, and take control of their lives. I'm your host, Olivia Goldstein. Today, I'm joined by Dorte Krogh. Dorte is a Danish values-driven transformation strategist who helps C-level leaders implement and anchor strategy. She specializes in aligning structure, culture, and behavior to turn strategic intent into measurable results. With a background as the founder and CEO of her own branding firm for 20 years, which she then went on to sell, Dorte brings commercial insight and organizational depth. Post-sale of her firm, she shifted her focus to strategy implementation after recognizing that many strategies fail in execution. She serves as a professional board member and has founded both a national industry association and a women's board network in Denmark. And for a number of years, she has been leading executives on development journeys in Greenland, combining leadership, reflection, and nature. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dorte.
Thank you so much for inviting. I've been looking forward.
I know.
Sitting in Copenhagen right now. Been looking forward to join you.
I love it. I've heard so many wonderful things about you through our mutual friend, Deborah. So I'm so excited to hear about your story and your journey and kind of what your experience was.
Thank you so much. So diving into my story, there's two things I have to tell you. Mm-hmm. The one thing is that my entire life, I really always have loved to sleep in a tent.
Okay.
It's simple, it's uncomplicated, and I even like it when it's a bit cold. Of course, I'm living in the Nordics, so that's a part of being a bit cold, but it's not about the cold, it's about the clothing. Yep. The second thing I have to tell you before telling my story, that is that I used to be so super scared of the dark. I've been that also since I was a child. And not knowing that was kind of setting up a lot of obstacles for what I really wanted to do, I realized that this thing about, for example, going out in the forest with my tent alone would not make me capable of rolling out my introvert side of myself, of my personality. So I always regarded myself as super extrovert. But then a few things happened and I'm not scared of the dark anymore. Or let's say I'm not scared about anything. So my story is not about going through miles through a jungle or meeting dangerous animals. It's actually about meeting myself. So that's why I want to share it. And of course, it starts in a forest in Denmark. It ends on a mountain in Greenland, where I'm still going back to. And of course, I just love everything about it.
Yes.
I've always liked also outdoor and been very much hiking now in the Nordic countries, kayaking, skiing, running, and stuff like that. I've been alone with my son. He's now 27, but since he was 13, it was just him and me. And the price of being a woman, self-employed, running your own business, you have to find ways on how to do vacations. So we ended up doing boys things, and I loved that very much. Then there was this woman I met called Mette. She at a certain time gave me a gift card saying that she would learn me how to hike in the nature.
Yep.
And for me, that would be too slow.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked things that was a bit speed. I like to go kayaking in high waves and stuff like that. But hiking, just walking around, that was simply too slow for me. So this gift card she gave me on using the compass, I never used it. And then she called me 1 year later and said, "Oh, you got a gift card, but you never used it for my course." And I, what to say when you kind of let people down. And she said to me, "If you don't use it next weekend, it'll be gone.
Oh, okay.
And then I said, okay, well, I'll join your course next weekend. And this was a Sunday. We had this conversation. On Monday morning, she posted on Facebook a hiking trip to Greenland.
Okay.
This is back in 2018. And this post just hit me. It was hiking 100 miles, 10 days, up and down in the mountains during the summer part, from the ice cape to the ocean. You had to use a backpack, your tent, food for 10 days. You'll drink water from the lakes you meet on the trip. And we would be 10 participants. And I was thinking, oh, would I be able to do that?
Yeah.
And I called her and she said, sure, invite your son. So since him and I, we've been earlier been crossing Lapland on dot sledding and stuff like that, I said to him, now he was 18, would you like to join your mom on a trip, 10 days in a tent hiking through that distance? I mean, and he'll be like, sure. So we did. And of course, it was a totally amazing trip. And this very feeling of we were actually capable of doing stuff like that. Now we take the time a bit further the next year. Yeah. And I had a lot of conversations with her on that trip about sleeping alone outside. And I could feel this introvert side of me. What if I dared to actually be alone in this environment? Not only in Greenland, but also because in the wintertime, it gets super dark in Denmark. So, and she said, you just go out there. Nothing will happen. And I tried a few times. And whenever I was in a tent, very clear near to some summer houses, there would always be noises. And I felt so uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So it was not possible for me to go on a tent alone. So I joined different kinds of traveling, hiking, camping. Yes. And I started to like the hiking part. And then COVID came. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about how you felt at that time, but in Denmark, we were told in the spring 2020, the prime minister come on the screen and she said, everybody stay at home.
Yep.
Keep yourself in a bubble with a few people. Yep. Stay there.
Yep.
My son called, he was with his girlfriend at her parents, and he said, we'll be here making a bubble. How's that for you? And I'll be like, okay, thinking, me sitting alone in the apartment. And then I realized when everybody is inside in a bubble, there will be nobody outside. So now it would be super safe for me to actually go out in the dark in March and do this racing the tent. So I packed my bag. I drove 1 hour south of Copenhagen and I found this spot and I started to put up the tent using a pan lamp. Yes. And then suddenly someone was looking at me, pointing at me with a flashlight. And I was just thinking, getting super scared. And I turned off the light and sat down and then it got dark again. And I rose up and I put the lamp on and there this flashlight light was again. And after a few times, I realized it was not a flashlight. It was what's the name in the ones at the sea?
Oh my gosh, a lighthouse?
It was a lighthouse.
Yes.
Exactly. So imagine me every time the lighthouse was turning the light, I turned down, kept on doing that. And I got so embarrassed, like hoping nobody had seen it. But
That's
of course,
hilarious.
It was also super funny. So I went into the tent. I fell asleep. I slept 10 hours.
Yes.
Not waking up.
Oh my gosh.
10 hours, not waking up. Then I stood up in the morning, had breakfast, this I can do it feeling. And then I hiked 10 kilometers. That's 1 mile. I put up the tent again. Went to sleep, slept 10 hours, hiked back to the car and posted on Facebook. I did it. I feel like I'm 5 years old. I learned to tie my own shoes. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So actually 2020, I was sleeping more than 50 nights alone outside in the forest. Just drove out, just parked the car, went in the forest in the dark without light, even learned myself to put on the tent without light. just for the moon. And I just had this super blast, fantastic party of one on this feeling that I could do this. So 1 year later, I met my partner, Henrik, which I'm living together with today.
Yes.
And that was a new time for me. You could say my age, we call it late lovers. And of course, I end up visiting him in the weekends instead of being in my tent.
Yes.
So 1 year go by and I'm hiking through the west coast of Denmark together with a friend. And we end this like a little week of hiking. And she says to me when we drive home, there's something you have to do now. And you have to change your life. Everything you used to love through your spare time in the weekends, you have to do that in your work life. Because I see it's easier for Henrik, who hates sleeping in a tent. It's easier for me to go on a luxury hotel for a weekend than it is for him to go in a tent.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yes.
So, and I was thinking about how could I do that? How could I bring everything I loved in my spare time to do that in my work time?
Yes.
So I had this idea of taking people to Svalbard, which is an island north of Norway, where I knew somebody who was arranging trips there, started thinking about it. And then actually I saw that there was this super cool woman who became the chair of the board of a Greenland company.
Mm-hmm.
That company was a client at my design studio years ago. And we repainted all the ships and did a new logo. So I sent her a message on LinkedIn. Hi, Malina. I'm Dorte. I did your visual identity 10 years ago. I see you're the new chair of the board. Could I invite you for lunch? How are you doing? How is Royal Greenland doing today? 3 months later, we're sitting in Copenhagen for this lunch. And we were talking about this hike from the ice cape to the ocean.
Yeah.
Not so many people have done that, but she has done it. I've done it. So, of course, we were talking about our hikes. And then I tell her about my dream about taking people to Svalbard. And then she takes her glass down. Greenlandic people are super strong. And she has these eyes and she says to me, you're not going to Svalbard in northern Norway. You are going to Greenland and you are going to arrange hiking trips together with me to Greenland because you know all the people to bring.
Yes.
I know all the places to go. What do you think about that? And my reply was, I've known you for 20 minutes. So that's a bit fast on doing a business together. And she said, I have no doubt. And then I said, I have no doubt. So we had a lunch, great talk.
Yes.
1 week later, we sat down online. We made a plan for the first trip, which is 4 years ago now. The first trip was sold out in 24 hours. You can be 12 persons on the boats since there's almost no roads in Greenland. Just around 150 kilometers of road. So you have to sail between the cities instead of driving.
Yeah.
So we sat down online, we did the program. I sent it out in this board network of cool women saying, if we can find 10 people interested for approximately this price, we will give you a great experience.
Yes.
And that was year number 1. And now 2026, it's going to be our 4th year of going.
Wow.
Hopefully we will succeed on having 10 American or 10 participants from Denver's network joining. But so having this feeling that you hear about something and when things hit you, I mean, that's when your intuition gets so strong, you simply have to follow your intuition in what is right or wrong. And there's a thing saying in Denmark, if you're in doubt, you're not in doubt.
Right.
Like having that feeling. So you could say the turning point for me was actually how can I see that what I love the most, how can I make that a part of my work life?
Yes.
And actually, when I'm facilitating leaders on strategy implementation, I'm talking about gathering people and for their goals, the
Yes.
KPIs and all of that, to combine that with meaning. That's
Yes.
combining structure and culture. That's combining commercial and the relational. That's combining uh, like plans with
Yes.
dialogue. And it's the same about traveling or sitting there, because we see on these hikes,
Mhm.
people open up because it is so, what you can say, it's such a strong feeling. You really feel this high to the ceiling.
Yes.
And you know that you're sitting in the end of this huge, huge, huge country.
Yes.
And there'll be so few, if you just start hiking, there'll be like so many kilometers of this country
Yes.
continuing. And we do these hikes in the summertime. There's no ice bears in the areas where we do. You will see an iceberg, not an ice bear, but you will see an iceberg for sure.
Yes.
And the point is, like, we see that the teams that we bring, the network they bring when they come home, it's so amazing to see that uh, connections and feelings. So you could say, for me, that shift on, you could say, especially at this age for me, turning
Yes.
60, that you can actually keep on do the changes that makes your life happy and balanced on what is important for you. I can do this enjoying it, and I
Yeah.
can join the trips with Henrik that goes different places.
Right.
But I
No.
mean, it's
Yeah.
never neither or, it's both and.
Yeah.
And that is, for me, is something that's important. And I also think that these opportunities of bringing broader perspectives
Hmm.
I've also been using that, because in the same period, my work life became more international.
It did. Yep.
And that is also like interesting saying, so working with strategy and implementation, for example, in Finland, in Germany, in Belgium, helping companies like Port of Singapore on
Yep.
strategy implementation. I think that had this, you could say, no limits feeling, that actually it came back to me. But I see the guests that we are bringing, they bring that back home. So many of
Yes.
our guests has been changing their life, quitting jobs, moving
Yes.
apart.
First of all, this story has so many elements to it that I love. I love the idea that you overcame a deep fear that you had and just like tackled it head on and found forged a way forward, and then found a way, even if it didn't, as your kind of life evolved with new changes, right? Your partner that you who didn't maybe share these interests with you, how can you find a way to keep this newfound like hobby and interest as part of your life and your own thing is a beautiful story. But I think one of the things is you're talking about these experiences, and kind of what I've found too, and I'd love your perspective on this, is you work with a lot of high performers, right? Like C-suite
Absolutely.
executives, like individuals who are constantly in situations where they're facing, a lot of different pressure or managing a lot of different opportunities and tasks. And one of the beautiful things I think about what you're doing is you're putting them in an environment where a lot of that is being removed, right? Because they're forced to be present and they're forced to be close to like as close to nature as you can be, right? So it's like, how do you see these things tying together? I mean, because you can kind of do what you suggested in any environment, but you're very selectively choosing to ground people through like, you know, hiking more like natural environments to really get them to consider all of the different facets of things they have to work on. So just would love your perspective on how nature ties into all of the work that you're doing.
I think that it taps in, because it's I think very much it's been that, I think that you could say for my whole life, but especially when you are, you could say, out there and we are not doing anything that is kind of dangerous, not at all. But there will be a team. So there will always be one who needs a hand.
Yep.
There will always be one who can be the one who is pushing up or helping you down. And having this common situation, and it's not about having the most cool clothes on the mountain. It's about being dressed the right way. And there's always someone who has something that could help the other one.
Yes.
And having these, you could say, building relations. If they're coming in, they don't know each other. So they're coming in as a new team.
Yes.
And we have an online meeting before we go, and that's it. And then they meet up in the airport. There could be some who knew together. Yeah. But what we see is like the feeling of building relations. And because we're taking them to a place that many people say, oh, Greenland, I want to go to Greenland.
Yeah.
So without many of us knowing, it's been on a bucket list for so many people.
Yes.
That we kind of didn't do it because, like, how could we do it? And we don't know enough about it. Even for Danes, that's like, we're part of the same kingdom. So having this coming in to a place that is different, because this is also people that with their work or in their free time has been traveled all over. They've seen a lot. They've been a lot of places. They've been like heli skiing, whatever they've been doing. But very few of them has been to Greenland. So the opportunity of taking people, that there's actually places where you still can go. And I would say, especially when we go down south of Greenland, there's very little tourists.
Yes.
So it's also, you could say, a bit primitive. So we sleep a bit tight. We could be staying with locals in their homes. I love it.
Yes.
So just to say, we don't do it so you can go and see, oh, that's the Greenland people. No, we do it because we want you to feel embarrassed by the country. And there's one thing that is so special about Greenland, and that is when you go there, you forget a tiny bit of your heart up there. And that meaning you will always longing for getting back. Actually, I was there the first time when I was 24 doing a photo shoot for a company. And it was in October and it was stormy all the time. So we couldn't take any pictures outside. So, but for me, this has been like really dream come true to have the opportunities of going back also to do both with the guests, been hiking a bit also more than that. But when you do that things together, you build the relations makes the trust come true.
Yes.
So when you look at your own timeline and you sit there and you see what is happening out of that, the dialogue, the acceptance of what is coming to other people when they're sitting there. We have one day where we do a silent hike.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It is it's amazing.
So grounding. I can picture it, right? You're just sitting there. Like, that's what I was thinking in my head. It's like, you know, I hear a lot of these stories about people who are sometimes when they're, in, bouts of depression or they're kind of struggling, how it's so important for them to feel like to get out and in touch with nature, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, that's exactly what I see this as, is like, not necessarily if you're struggling, but if you almost need like a reset or a re-energized to something you're working toward, and you're surrounded by other people who have similar experiences that you can bounce off of, like ideas and sharing thoughts, and you're kind of coming almost like reborn after these types of trips, coming back with, more energy, more attention, cutting the things that you don't want anymore, spending more time on the things that you want to do. It's really a beautiful model. Have you found from these trips that friendships continue on like afterwards among like the peer groups too?
We have actually there's two experiences that is quite fantastic. One was this woman who has exited super good on a company, and she was like working on like what to do. Yeah. She kind of actually, when she came back, she had the key. And 2 years later, she was interviewed in the business paper of Denmark.
Yeah.
And the first sentence, on a mountain in Greenland. And then she was just telling the story. I was just like,
Yeah.
You did.
It's so cool. It's awesome.
So that was fantastic. And not that people should go and change their life, but I see that sometimes it's so fantastic that you have time to reflect, and other people give you the space, because it kind of gets a bit basic. But what is most wonderful is that all the groups that we've had there have continued to have their network.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we still have the WhatsApp chats. And it's so fantastic to see this summer, every team is meeting, the first one in 3 weeks, and they meet up, they go hiking together. One of the teams, one wrote out in the team, "Hi, I've always been scared of horses." 2 days later, that whole team, they had arranged, they have to go horse riding for a weekend because they want to take that fear away from her.
Wow.
Cool businesswomen do this to each other.
I love it.
Another team has been investing together. And it's just for us, when they invite us to join, we'll be like, but of course, Malina is living in Greenland. So we cannot, but it's the pleasure of being just a part of these groups. It's, that's kind of, you say, when you sometimes feel happy in the evening, go to bed, say, what was good today? That's when the chats has been working on, and they do stuff together.
I can totally see that, right? It's not that this is the same thing, but I took a group of founders to DC for DC Tech Week back in October. And the best part of it was like the peers and the friendship that we all built on that trip. Like, we all got so close. And what I ended up finding is there was the last evening, we went to like a happy hour that was all hosted by venture capitalists, and all of the founders that we came together were circling the room on behalf of everybody else in the group and being like, oh, I found this guy, go talk to this other founder. And it's like they still maintain this like friendship in this peer group, that it's just such a deep way to travel with professionals or colleagues and people that you want to get to know on a deeper level, and you can just like kind of continue to work together. So I'm definitely a big advocate for what you're doing. I do know that you and Deborah had mentioned you're doing one of these coming up this summer. So what is that, at the end of July? When's the next one?
We'll be having, we hope to, the tour I've been talking with Deborah will be from middle to end of July.
Okay.
And then when they leave home, we have one more trip end of July, and we have even one more end of August too.
Beautiful.
So, yes.
And what's the best way for people to find out about this, or if they're interested in exploring?
I think if they're interested in exploring, I think if you could share, it could be my LinkedIn profile, or it would be at myname.com. But I think you'll have to write it down so that the pronunciation of the Danish words, Dorte Krogh, that's not an easy one to spell it. So I think if you can send that out too, I think that's the easiest part. Is that possible to do that way?
Yes, absolutely. We will make sure that that's included.
Thank you so much. But it will be a pleasure. And if anyone wants to hear more about it, it's just a pleasure. And for me, you could say, there was this quote saying, visions with actions is like, if you don't have an action with a vision, it wouldn't do anything, or action without vision, nothing. But if you can put action to your vision, we can change the world.
Yes, absolutely. And if not, we'll put everybody in front of your colleague from Greenland who will force action.
I hope so. Yes, definitely.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It was
looking so much.
To meet you.
Same to you.
Yes, thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you.
Bye.